Hi everyone, it's Ann at Martin House Flowers and Eddie. We're taking our walk this Sunday morning, enjoying a little bit of the snowfall. Eddie would love to be able to smell spring, smell the rabbits, and go chase them. He's sniffing really hard, trying to find what he can sniff hard on behind the house. So I hope you're enjoying your Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening, I guess, by the time this video gets published. But I thought today that I was going to have a relaxing afternoon. Well, I ended up working in the greenhouse, finished a tray of snapdragons that had been sitting in my mudroom sink for a few days because the tray that had been filled with some potting mix actually got frozen sitting in the greenhouse overnight. So I just forgot about it and finally decided to sow those last snapdragons that I didn't finish in my last video where we sowed some snapdragons together. So I'm taking you for a little tour around the grow lights. Those are my pansies. These are actually some failures of chives and basil that we sowed back in November. But I think because they were left in the greenhouse for too long before bringing them indoors under grow lights, they got a little bit, they dampened off or they froze, one of those. So there's that 10 by 10 tray there and some stragglers here of snapdragons. I did the M.I. Gardner rose and white. And there are some chamomile that we winter sowed together that sat in the greenhouse for a few days or a week. Those are poppies. Those are the amazing gray. And look at my sweet peas. They are actually almost ready to be pinched. I'm going to wait for a third set of leaves. Sometimes you can pinch them after the second set of true leaves. And that actually helps them get less leggy and just builds the sweet pea to be more stocky and healthier. So you can tell that my pansies are growing at different speeds. This one here, you can see a little bit of germination, but I've kept them still covered with the tray because I'm just seeing some light germination. That's just the top shelf of the grow light. If you recall, these were the shelves and grow lights that were in the greenhouse. But because we decided to turn off our heater, our expensive electrical heater in the greenhouse, I brought all of these seedlings in, and the sweet peas and the pansies did pretty well being outside in the greenhouse for a while. Here are the yarrow Colorado mix. A little slow growing, but I did take the humidity dome off. And here are all of the snapdragons. I believe that's lavender. I didn't look up all the names. That's Potomac orange, lavender, and the sowed seeds that I just started today. But today I really wanted to talk a little bit about some of my favorite gardening books. There's Containers in the Garden by Klaus Dalby and The Cottage Garden. And that first one, From Seed to Bloom. I've had these books, I think, for about a year. And I thought it'd be great to sort of talk about them because I never seem to get a chance to include this in my seed starting videos. Addie's just hanging around as I'm setting up for this video. He just wanted to be part of the show. So I thought I'd start with this first book, From Seed to Bloom. I'm trying to think, I think my daughter Holly gave this to me for Christmas. So this is a book by Milli Proust. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's a year of growing and designing with seasonal flowers from seed to bloom. So it's a really beautiful book, and it's based out of England. She is, let's just read the back cover here. From Seed to Bloom, an essential guide to growing and styling seasonal cut flowers. All you need to get started is a packet of seeds. There's plenty of joy and satisfaction to be found throughout the gardening year. In the celebration of flowers, seeds, and life in all its intimacy, discover the delight of growing and how you can embrace the magic of each season. From the first moment you bury a seed in the soil to the day you harvest the bloom to enjoy indoors. Flower grower Milli Proust guides you through a year in her garden, spotlighting her favorite cut flowers to grow and use to create beautiful arrangements for your home and friends. Through 19 projects, learn how to create natural, organic designs from simple bouquets to archways, tablescapes, and urns that will encourage you to embrace your own personal style, from the seeds you choose to sow to the blooms you arrange. So obviously I can relate to this book, and I haven't heard of a lot of people talk about it, but even her front cover bouquet, I just love how naturally flowing it is and a little bit wild. And I did read it almost cover to cover, and it has this beautiful garden, and she's based out of, she talks about her grandmother and growing up in London, England, and about making big plans for growing food and flowers, and how a package of seeds for plants were something that, just really got her started. And I love how the book goes through the many seasons for basically an entire year, and all of her favorite flowers. You can see how she loves to arrange her flowers, very loose and non-traditional. I really am inspired. I want to do some more of these arrangements with just short little bowls, and the pedestal vases or vases, and I've collected a couple of them that are sitting on the shelves in the greenhouse. But she talks about finding flowers from the market, from your local grower, trading, and she does arrange some cut flower bouquets, which of course I'm inspired to do that, and growing her seeds, foraging, some of her tools. And I just love how rustic everything is. And she talks about preparing your growing space, and everything from the no-dig method, and using paths and staking supports and fencing. She talks about composting, seed propagation, and of course she has a beautiful greenhouse. And I'm not sure if she mentions whether or not that's a Hartley, but it's definitely a very English style greenhouse with the brick foundation, and a little bit similar to mine, but a much bigger one. And it's just a very kind of, I don't know, down to earth, but yet a very instructional book. It talks about saving seeds, harvesting, making bouquets. She talks about some of my favorite flowers like roses, sustainable floristry toolkits, vases, how she wraps a bouquet. Very, very, very helpful. And she does a bridal bouquet here, and then it's very much my style, just doing arrangements with buds in little bud vases. Um, and then the principles of creating a bouquet. And then she goes from each season, starting with late winter And look at that gorgeous landscape that she has. Obviously, she has some property, and it's very, very rustic with the wooden posts and the willow everywhere. She talks about hellebores, snowdrops, and snowflakes in early spring, an everlasting love bouquet, which is that straw flower. It's just so British, and she's got a late winter to-do list. Now, I read this book a year ago, but I have actually gone through it again, and I'm finding that it's very appropriate for this time of year. There's a late winter to-do list, which I'm rereading, and then she goes into early spring. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? The earth knows how to heal. In these dark olive green pages, it's more personal, and she talks about just some quiet moments in the garden, and then she goes on to show some beautiful pictures as well as talk about her favorite flowers, anemones, narcissi, daffodils, the Narcissus Library. Like, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The fragrant spring sunshine. There's the bouquet, the spring bouquet with daffodils. It's just so beautiful. So in here, her focals are the narcissus, and then she has fritillaria, wild plum blossom, wild cherry blossom. I want to do that. I want to take some of my flowering trees, like maybe some crabapple branches, and use them in a spring bouquet. I think I want to definitely do a tulip bouquet, or if I have enough daffodils this year, this is inspiring me to do a bouquet for spring, definitely. And she shows you step by step how she does that. And the photography is just incredible. And then she goes into late spring, and of course all of her tulips. And again, adjusting and adapting with some personal stories about herself and her tulips. Ranunculus. I did try growing ranunculus, but obviously I didn't know what I was doing a couple of years ago. And I'm just still debating on whether or not I should grab some corms. A spring dance centerpiece with ranunculus and some lilac. I think she has in here ranunculus, clementine, and supporting 3 stems, textural. Oh, she doesn't say what that is, but I think those are lilacs. Spring Gifts Bouquet, another gorgeous bouquet. And then again, she shows you how she creates her bouquets. And I didn't even think about this. I've watched so many bouquet making instructional videos that I forgot that she has this in here. I just love the simplicity of her bouquets, and she uses, what really makes them unique is she uses a lot of branches, flowering branches. And then she has her late spring to-do list. And she's got some bulbs there, harvest tulips, fritillarias, ranunculus, and anemones. And then early summer. So she goes through wild windowed installation, peonies. She goes through all of her favorite flowers. A romantic rose bouquet. Sweet peas. Oh, a girl after my own heart. So I'm absolutely going to read this book cover to cover again. Sometimes I just go through and look at the pretty pictures in my books. But this particular one, I remember reading it cover to cover. It was because I got it at Christmas last year, I believe, from my daughter Holly. I just had it at my bedside. And you know how sometimes you have a flower that is from the past and you weren't that fond of it? I wasn't that fond of straw flowers, but I'm starting to think about growing them again. And I think I did pick up some light pink ones. I forget what they were called, from Johnny's. And I'm inspired because I want to do, my daughter had asked me, my oldest daughter Hannah is getting married this fall, and she wanted me to do a flower wreath around her head. And because she is my boho child, my Bohemian Rhapsody, I call her. So I really want to do some dried flowers and maybe use some maybe white or blush colored straw flowers. And then she goes into amaranth, which of course I grew some of this, which I think I need to get some more. I just have a few seeds left over. And sunflowers, sunflower sill, dahlias, which I'm trying for the first time, and the last hurrah market bouquet. So she is a market grower. And look at the beautiful ceremony arch. Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful for a wedding? My daughter does have a friend of hers doing her wedding flowers, which I'm really happy about. I did my own wedding flowers 3.5 years ago, and boy, was that a lot of work. So when my daughter Holly got married a year later, which is 2.5 years ago now, I just went and, to the florist and said that was, one of my gifts to her. And I basically chose all the flowers and had someone else do the work. And that was a good idea because Greg and I ended up getting COVID 5 days before her wedding. So that was ill timing. But so the book ends with late autumn and evergreens, a winter woodland bouquet. So she does a bouquet for every season in this book. And she talks about forest bulbs, which of course I love to do. And it's just, gosh, one of the most beautiful inspirational books. And I encourage you to get this. It is a $29.99 book, and I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. I'll link below this book if I can find it on Amazon. I don't have an Amazon store, but I absolutely love this book, and I encourage you to pick this up and have a read through. Maybe you can find it in the local library, I don't know, but I'm loving this book. It's one of my favorites, and from seed to bloom, so perfect timing. So I hope you enjoy that one. I hope you enjoyed taking a look through that book, and in my next video I will talk about Klaus Dalby's book, The Containers in the Garden. Thanks for coming along with me today, and we'll see you in the next video.